In January 2025, JD Vance attended and spoke at the March for Life, just 4 days after being sworn in as vice president. During his speech, he declared, "I want more babies in America." Today, our deep dive is going to dissect pronatalism in America and how the Trump regime has been instrumental in making young women aspire to the tradwife fuckery of having 43 children. As you'll learn today, this is a moment that the right has been working towards for decades. I am Maggie Gelson Burnett.
I'm Mallory Hagan. This is Pretty Furious.
How's it going, Mallory?
As someone who is in the thick of just one baby,
I can't wait.
I don't know. Like we're recording this on Friday at 9 a.m. and I just want everyone to know that being up, having the baby situated, being showered, hair done, makeup on, all of that by 9 a.m. with one child is entirely too much. I can't imagine having
feat.
I can't imagine having 8. Like, what do you mean?
And you are an only child. I come from a family of 5 kids, and but I grew up a lot as sort of an only child because there is such a large age gap between my siblings and myself. So I think we both are sort of grew up in households that were relatively chill when it came to having a lot of kids around. And so when I think about the thought of having I love the quiet. Oh God, I love it. When I think about the thought of having multiple children running around, I'm instant no. My body shuts down. So yeah, today's deep dive will be very interesting.
I can attest that when our older boys are here, we have 2 older boys, a baby, a dog,
No.
As an only child, I start being I'm short-circuiting.
My ADHD could never.
Well, and also have an open concept house. So in addition to the chaos
everywhere,
everything,
yeah.
Everything is everywhere all at once. And most specifically and alarmingly while you're trying to cook dinner. And I'm a person, while I'm cooking, that everything needs to be ready at the same exact time. I have mapped it all out so it's all going to be ready. Everything's going to be hot on your plate. We're not waiting on anything. And so I just start being oh my gosh, get out of the kitchen.
Mallory and I may have some OCD tendencies that we haven't quite explored yet. But
you joke about that, but Kevin just learned that I only use certain spoons.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He was what?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one.
What do you mean?
This particular spoon is my spoon.
There is a particular spoon.
There is one.
Absolutely.
It matters. Anyway.
Well, Mallory, I think a good place to start with this episode, because this is such a broad topic, there are so many threads that connect here, is do you know what the definition of pronatalism is?
I think so. I think it is just this concept that we are pro having babies and lots of them. Birth rate on the decline means we need to make sure that people don't have autonomy over their body and that they just have more and more and more babies.
Correct. Pew, pew, pew. Yeah, that you're right on the money. So pronatalism more commonly refers to the promotion of reproduction within a society. And in the present day context, to your point, surrounds kind of this belief system that a healthy birth rate is essential to a stable society. So historically, this has also come from the fear of falling birth rates. So as some people may know, the birth rate in the US has reached an all-time low in 2024. So women in America have, on average, 1.6 children each, which I find to be a hilarious statistic.
I know, how can you have
1.6 children? What the fuck? Which is below replacement level, meaning that the amount of people that we would need to replace the current population. So yeah, you are absolutely correct that is the gist of the pronatalism movement, is that we want more babies. That is exactly what JD Vance said.
Yeah. Well, they're expecting the population to shrink by 1/3 by 2072. Yes. So in order for the population to be sustained, you have to have 2.1 children per mother. So the average American
just for sustaining.
Yeah, that's just for sustaining. So, as you kind of touched on, the average American woman between the ages of 15 and 44 gave birth to less than two children, so that 1.6 number. And the fertility rate also reached an all-time low. And that's just the number of children born to women of childbearing age. So, things aren't looking good for the population of Earth. However,
Not looking good.
the question I would ask is, well, maybe you should look around, gestures around broadly.
Correct.
Maybe people don't want to be here anymore.
And, I think this is a really fascinating point to make because this seems obvious to people like you and me. Like, it seems obvious to me, like, why the fuck people don't want to have children. As a pregnant person in America right now, as somebody who just had a baby in America, we can both comfortably attest to the fact that even while fully wanting and planning for the children that we have, I totally get it, girl. If you're like, fuck no, I'm totally out on kids. So I think that's a huge distinction between the left and the right, is that the right doesn't seem to quite grasp why the left doesn't want children. And more so, the right wants their own kind to be the ones producing the children. They don't care if the left even has them in the first place.
Yeah, but I also think some of this is, and I know we're going to dive in, but a lot of this that I ponder about is I don't know if you've noticed this, but there is this really ingrained sense of like a desire for legacy among
Yes. Oh my
among
God, yeah.
particularly men, particularly
Hmm.
conservative men. Like, what will be my legacy? Who will I leave things to? I just couldn't care. Like, I don't care.
Couldn't
I
be
won't
fucked.
be here.
Yeah, literally.
People, and this applies to a lot of different concepts, not just whether you have a family or not. But when people are like, "Well, what about?" and I'm like, "I won't be here. I don't know." I mean,
Hmm.
I care about doing things such that I don't harm anyone in my
Correct. Yeah.
legacy. Obviously, I don't want to be a person who causes harm, and 100 years from now, I'm in some history book because I was an awful human. But outside of that, like, okay, my name doesn't live on.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
I
It's
don't know.
wild because in Ty's family, my father-in-law, Ty's dad, is the oldest of 10 children. And the
Wow.
way that it happened to shake out is that I believe there's only one, two, three, four girls. So six boys, four girls. And the way it shook out is that Ty and his brother are the only boys that are able to carry on the Burnett name. So
Wow.
like the statistics on that blow my mind. I think that it's probably like truly a 1 in a million chance. But like when we found out we were having a girl, I was like, thank fucking God. Like, not because I like give a shit about you know, carrying on some legacy or name or whatever, but because like who does care about that? Like, it's such an interesting concept to me that people actually give a shit about like my lineage better carry like as if we're still making like, genealogy books and shit. Like, it's really interesting to me. So, um, probably the most concerning piece of the pronatalism movement is that pronatalists are pushing movements that are associated with, you said it, limiting access to reproductive care,
Mhm.
including both birth control and abortions. So Trump even dubbed himself the quote, this is disgusting, fertilization president. That's so foul. He did that in a speech that he gave like at the White House semi recently. And this ties in with obviously his messaging about restoring the nuclear family, the goals of Project 2025, and the Heritage Foundation, which
The
we'll talk
nuclear
about.
family that he, by the way, has been so good at maintaining.
Really good at.
Really good at maintaining. Yeah.
100%. What is even most interesting too about what you had just said about the birth rate and how we would have to like replace the population is that this declining birth rate doesn't actually tell the entire story. A large chunk of this is actually referring to teen pregnancies, where
Mhm.
between 1991 and 2021, the US teen birth rate plummeted 78%, which I find to be a crazy, crazy stat.
which is ideal unless you're a person in the Heritage Foundation, apparently. And
Correct.
just so you know, earlier I said that the average American woman between the ages of 15 and 44 gave birth to less than two children. That's the stat.